Hello and welcome to the Footy Corner. This is the Premier League preview show with a little bit of League Cup in it as well. So welcome in. Please make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing the live and replaying the channel and everything. And pop any comments you've got in the chat section. And if you're watching a replay, in the comment section there. Tonight we've got George Rivers. Good evening, George.
How are you doing, James? Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good. I'm very pleased with that massive win that we had against Bolton. Testing out some of the youngsters there, and doing all very good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow's game. Seeing that we get a positive result again.
What do you think of us being the dark arts masters? Apparently.
Well, I think it's. I'm flattered. I have to say, I'm absolutely flattered. Because it does take some skill to be a dark arts master, doesn't it?
It takes some skill to invent something that was invented years ago. It does take some skills to do that.
Oh, definitely, sure, yes, but I'm quite flattered in some ways. But then again, I think it's just a bit. I think it's Man City being a bit pitiful, really, and just trying to, showing how wound up they are, that things didn't go quite their way on Sunday. But yeah, no, I do feel flattered in a way, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting kind of concept, isn't it? That's now kicking off. But yeah, there's plenty of media outlets that seem to be covering it as well, and keep basically calling us cheats and this, that, and the other. Like, nobody else has done anything like we've done before.
Yeah, it does seem a bit puzzling, doesn't it? Because considering that, the likes of Chelsea, Man City, and the other big teams, it's not like, it's not we've, other teams have done probably worse things, and I don't see what we have done wrong, really. I think it's just really an anti-Arsenal agenda within the media. And people just trying to give us some stick for nothing, really. But I think we've got a good fan base that can show the media that despite what you're saying, we're going to stand by our team and give them the best support.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, because it just seems to be a lot of the media outlets as well that's kind of covering this stuff, and I haven't got any headlines like everybody else seems to be putting headlines on, and just with head loss and such like. And I did see something on the overlap that straight out called us cheats, and TalkSport have now put out. Have you seen today's comparison? So.
Yeah, some of it I have, and I was listening to it on TalkSport and stuff, and I think it is.
So you've heard the comparison where Spurs beat Karabag, and
yes,
they went down to 10 men, and that's now being associated with Arsenal facing their title rival. So the favourites for the Europa League are being leveled at that standard. I don't quite really understand that.
No, I don't. I think it's just pointless media bickering, really. Just trying to make something out of nothing, really. The way I see it, I don't see why. I don't see why they're trying to go. What they're trying to get at here, really. Honestly.
No, I did see another one where I think it was somebody from the Daily Mail, and it was on their TikTok account, and basically I can't remember his name, and it might be Ian Ladysmith, but I couldn't swear to that. But he was talking to Chris Sutton on the podcast as he regularly does. It's normally a very, very insulting pod, so one to the point where I haven't actually followed the channel yet. So it kind of keeps coming back up on my feed, but I don't follow it. So that's how bad the thing normally is. But Chris Sutton basically looked at this guy and went, and I'll try and do the face. It was like, yeah, it was like, what are you talking about? He was basically likening it to an old-fashioned obstruction and such like. And you're like, what are you even on about? and the other footage that I saw the other day, yesterday, was the leap that Gabriel did, Walker has basically got a full handful of Gabriel's shirt, trying to
Exactly.
pull him out of the air. And you're like, hang on a minute. That's exactly what you're accusing us of.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that dark arts to try and stop a goal going in? So yeah, I find it a bit bizarre and a little bit misleading. And yeah, I don't know whether to be flattered or really annoyed with it. But yeah, I think it's the media attention, adverse media attention, that's kind of annoyed me a little bit. But you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, I just think it's pointless media bickering. It's just really that they're always glorifying City. They're always glorifying about Haaland, and they just want to put us in a negative limelight, as it were, for no particular reason, just to boost City's kind of showcasing. That's the way I see it.
And they're going on about all those dark arts, but it's okay to throw a ball at somebody's head. Apparently, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's just like one-way traffic. I think really, it's just always, it always seems to be against us for some reason. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah. Anyway, well, yeah, that's. I just wanted to touch on that since you brought up the point, and yeah, I thought we might as well have our little bit of a say and whatnot. But
yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, did you see any of the League Cup results? Any of the games or?
So apart from our game the other night, I saw that Liverpool beat West Ham once again 5-1. I know, well, West Ham, they did score initially, but they then Jota came to life, really, got 2, didn't he? And then Salah as well. And I can't remember who's got their 5th one, but West Ham did also have a player sent off. But it just seems to be, I think for them, it seems to be a notorious ground to get negative results. I mean, to be fair, for a lot of teams, Anfield's not an easy place to go. But, West Ham were just completely lacklustre. And I think that team is a team that's in big turmoil. I did see as well, I think it was just that game, wasn't it? I think the other games were all last week. I mean, Spurs beat Coventry last week, didn't they? 2-1 in the League Cup. I think Brentford's, didn't they win as well? I can't quite recall, but I saw a couple of them.
Yeah, there was a few games this week, to be fair. Chelsea beat Barrow 5-0. Chelsea looked quite impressive, but obviously it was Barrow. But there we go. Did you see the Man City v Watford game?
I haven't, to be fair. Actually, it's been quite a busy week for me, but I did see a couple of the games. But what happened there with that game?
So basically, Watford. Earlier on in the game, basically had a goal ruled out for basically. They actually put on their TikTok feed that this goal's perfectly fine, showing up one of Haaland's one, they showed it side by side. There's their one got ruled out. So
yes, again, that doesn't really surprise me. I mean, Man City seems to get decisions go their way. I know we're probably talking on a biased viewpoint, being Arsenal fans, but I genuinely do think it's always one-way traffic in City. It's always set up for City to do well and City to win things. That's the way I see it. I may sound a bit like I'm a bit...
I completely understand. I mean, obviously the neutrals out there might say something different, but at the end of the day, I find it very difficult to disagree with you.
I mean, my dad's a West Ham fan, and he says to me, he's so sick of seeing City win everything, and and it just always seems to go, everything just seems to go their way all the time. I'm just like, I mean, he's obviously not an Arsenal fan, and it just goes to show there is others out there that are not Arsenal fans that agree with what we're saying, I think, about Man City.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's. I'm sure it's not just this. It's not just us.
no, definitely. But I think the League Cup. I mean, I think talking about the League Cup, no, I think, well, the draw that we've got there, Preston away. I think that will be a good ground to go to get our youngsters playing well away from home. It's interesting. I think it's quite nice. I was kind of hoping to like North London derby away, so I could try and get a ticket, being a season ticket holder with few away points, because as you know, North London derby away is the tickets are like gold dust to try and get, aren't they?
Yeah.
So even for us season ticket holders, but but I think that'll be a good draw. I think that'll be a good game. I think, well, Brighton Liverpool, that'll be an interesting game. Liverpool away at Brighton as well, and I think you've got
United have got Leicester, haven't they? So
yes,
Man United got Leicester, and I should have the draw here, but I forgot to put it up. To be honest.
I think Chelsea have got Newcastle AFC Wimbledon, because the AFC Wimbledon game got postponed because of
that got postponed, and then Spurs got a tough game as well. Did they get?
Yeah, they got Man City at home. That'll be quite
yeah,
interesting. I mean, considering the record they have against Man City, I think that'll be quite interesting to see how that turns out.
I mean, in fairness, they'll all be able to do the Poznan, won't they? So they can all wear the same shirt.
Since they were doing it last year when Man City were beating them.
Yeah, well, when they wanted everybody to beat, everybody else, because they don't want us to win anything, and at cost of Champions League. So they might as well wear their shirt on that day as well, aren't they?
Might as well, mate.
There we go.
The ultimate laughing stock of football.
Yeah. So another result that was out there was Walsall v Leicester, and obviously it doesn't go to extra time anymore, but it goes straight to penalties.
Yes.
And the game was 0-0, and Leicester won on penalties. So I mean, it wasn't the same lineup that we expect to see tomorrow.
No.
But at the end of the day, you would think that Leicester should be putting Walsall away, wouldn't you?
You think so? You'd think they'll put Walsall to the sword, really, considering the different leagues that the teams are in. I think it's, again, though, still to get through a penalty shootout for any team against whatever competition, whatever team it is against, it's still an impressive thing for Leicester to have done. But you would have thought Leicester would have put them to the sword, really. Yes, definitely.
I don't think Walsall converted a penalty, by the way.
No, I think you're right there as well. From what I can recall of it, yes, I think. I mean, Walsall are not really they're not like I think really, considering the teams you get in that competition, Walsall are definitely going to be considered one of the underdogs of all teams to play against. And Leicester, even though they probably didn't have a lot of first team players available or playing in that fixture, I do think, that really they should have probably been more convincing. I mean, having said that, no, Leicester, I think, not really showing a lot of grit since they've been back in the Premier League, really, do you? I just don't think, really, they've not really had much to show anyone, or not really showing why they're worthy to be back in the Premier League, in my opinion. But
no, they drew with Spurs, didn't they? I think that's about the... I think that's the only decent result they've got, haven't they? I'm not entirely.
From what I can recall, to be fair, I don't think they've had many positive results being back in the Premier League. No, but I think you never know. It's still early days in the season. They may still.
Yeah, probably a tough start, a bit of tough kind of reintroduction, maybe. But I mean, they're not the side that they. With Vardy in his prime and such like, and they've obviously had to trim down because the main owner died, didn't he? So I don't think the new owner is investing the same way that the old investor was.
No, that's the way it's looking for them at the moment. Definitely. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a shame for them, but hey ho, so long as we beat them in the weekend, I don't care. I don't really mean that. I don't not that I want them to go under or anything. I don't want anything like that to happen.
Yeah.
The other game that's on that day was Wycombe Wanderers. They played Aston Villa.
Yes, I think they were holding. I think Villa were being held by them initially at first, but then they turned it around, from what I can remember hearing.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it was just another day in the office, but again, plenty of rotation, I believe, in that one.
Yes, indeed. But that's the thing with the League Cup. Sometimes the lower league teams could pull off a little bit of a surprise sometimes, don't they? So it's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, I don't think Everton. I think Everton. What happened with Everton now? Or did they get through their game? From what I don't think they did. Did they? I think they didn't. They get knocked out.
I am not sure.
Yeah, I can't recall. because I know they're still. I think they're looking like they're going to be relegated this year, aren't they, Everton?
They're struggling, aren't they? Definitely struggling. I mean, it's still only we're only coming up to game week 6, I suppose. So they've got plenty of time to turn it around, I guess. But,
yeah.
Early signs don't look good. Obviously, they can turn it around quite quickly.
Oh, definitely.
So obviously, we'll just go over briefly the two games last night and Wednesday night. Both 5-1s to the home team in Arsenal Bolton and Liverpool West Ham.
Yes.
Also, plenty of rotation, and what I expected to happen. Lewis Skelly having a game, Ethan Nwaneri having a game, and for me, didn't really look out of place. I know that the opposition was Bolton, but they didn't. They did themselves proud, didn't they?
I think so. Yes, and then where he definitely did is, scoring. I think he scored 2 of the goals from what I can recall, actually, and getting his first goal as well. I think he was outstanding the way he played and conducted himself. Likewise, Lewis Skelly as well. Again, another phenomenal performance, and I think we can see a lot of potential in them 2 young lads in years to come.
Yeah, the performance of Jesus was a little bit underwhelming to start off with. I mean, he came into it towards the end, I guess. Started to have an impact, so he was doing okay. But do you think he could have done better?
Yes and no. I think I think yes and no with Jesus. He had a few attempts, didn't he? But again, it's I think he had a great game. Just by the way, I do think he had a great game in the City game. But he could have probably done slightly better, I think. But I think he's recovering obviously from that injury he had last. That's the problem. Like last season with Jesus, he gets time out with a lot of injuries and stuff, and it affects his gameplay, I think. And since that last major injury he's had, he's not been quite the same. But I think this season he has slowly been growing back into stead and the player that we want to see him be. And I think again, he will. I think he will grow back into being that great player that we know him to be. But it's going to take him time, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while now. Do you think we've outgrown him as the Premier League club, or do you think he still has a place in the club?
I think he still has a place, to be fair. I mean, there's a lot of debate and discussion around Jesus, with where he's not always on the top goal scoring form. I really like Jesus. I really like that chant that our fan base has got for him as well. I think that's a fantastic chant. That say he walks on water, turns it into wine. And I think he's a great player, great character in the team. And I still think he has potential for us. He does need to improve in making the most of his chances. But I think he still has a place in our team, most definitely.
Okay. And Sterling performance, what did you make of that?
Sterling, I was really, really impressed with Sterling. I think, he gave it his all. You could see that. You could see the hunger and desire he had in him. And I think to come from the experience he had at Chelsea, where I think that, how he's being treated as well, I think to come into our team and show what he's capable of, was fantastic. I think he's doing really well. He obviously got a goal. It was a bit of a fluky goal, to be fair, but he's showing that yeah, exactly. He's showing what he's capable of, and we all know he's a great player, and we all know he's got good experience as well, playing for the likes of Chelsea, City, Liverpool, all the big clubs really. So I think he's going to do phenomenal things for us as well, and I was really impressed with him the other night.
Yeah, for me, the first 10, 15 minutes was kind of slow burner, and then just gradually kind of pumped
when he started taking his chances. When he grew into it.
It was like he got a bit of confidence. He just got a bit of confidence, didn't he? And just kind of started doing whatever. I'm not sure what that haircut's about, but that's another story.
He's got the Conroe style as well, but I think it might be a bit of a changed man in Jesus. Hopefully, a positive man for a change.
Maybe he thinks a different haircut will get him less injuries. Possibly that's the case.
Hopefully, fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, talking about Sterling, where do you see that going? Because obviously we don't have an obligation to buy, we don't have an option to buy. Where do you see that going? If we want to buy him, where do you see that going?
I think with Sterling, I think if he can prove to Arteta that he's well and capable, and he shows that he's worth to play at our club, I think we may very well go ahead and actually buy him and get him on a permanent, because we've done the same thing with Odegaard. If you remember a couple of seasons ago, I think was a loan move from Real Madrid, and then eventually we ended up buying Odegaard, and what a phenomenal thing that was for us to do as well. And it shows how much we miss him, where he's going to be out for the long term now. But I think if Sterling shows that he's worth, and he has, I think he will personally. I can see it going for the long term with Sterling. He plays the Arteta way. He fits really well in with Arteta's style and tactics, and I can see him staying at our club for the long term, really.
What would you think if that happened? What do you think a reasonable fee would be for him? Because I don't see the club paying him 325 grand a week.
That's the thing. It's the wages.
If we did, then the fee has got to be zero, hasn't it, or very nominal?
Very, I think so. I think a fee, if we was to I think it's trying to meet his wages. In all honesty, I couldn't really just come to terms of what sort of fee we'd go for. But I think Arteta and Edu will find a way to make it work if he is worth it. But we'll have to see. Only time will tell, really.
I mean, realistically speaking, if we were going to spend that kind of money, we'd have spent that on Osherman or somebody like that, wouldn't we?
That's the thing, yeah. I mean, we all know Sterling's a great player from the experience that he's had. But like you say, like those players you mentioned, we probably would have been more inclined to go for them, really, over Sterling, weren't we? And spend that sort of money if we was going to spend that sort of money. But, that's what's happened. And we'll just have to see what happens now.
Yeah, it does just seem a bit an odd one. And just going up while we're talking about contracts and such, Partey is coming to the end of his contract in the summer. What would you do there? Because he has, I only mention it really because he's had 5 straight games. He obviously was rested for the League Cup game, but he's had 2 internationals where he played 180 minutes. Now, who in that structure made him play 180 minutes? I've got no idea, but okay, whatever. But then he plays 3 straight games for us as well. No sign of an injury. His legs, look a bit heavy maybe, but I think he played well against City, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so too. He put a shift in. I think he's more of a defensive holding midfielder, really. And I really like Thomas Partey. I think last season it was quite a bit of a shame that he struck a couple of injuries, and the season before that as well. But I really do like Thomas Partey. But I think I'd like to see him like make more of his chances, because sometimes he does play a bit lackluster sometimes, I think. And I'd like to see less of that happening and more of the focused, solid and sharp sort of gameplay that he can play happening more often. But I think, it's going to be a bit of a tough one, because we have got, I mean, again, like, we just signed Mikel, changing the subject slightly, but we signed Mikel Merino, and he's been hit by injury, but we still need to see what he has to offer. So I think there's going to be a bit of competition around the midfield, but ultimately we want to have a rotating squad so that if we do get any major injuries, we can use different players and rotate between them that are just as good as each other, and there's competitions for the positions and places. But I'd like to think that we keep Partey, but he's got to stop playing more sharp and razor focused and less of that lackluster dispossession. He does get dispossessed easily at times. He does make some silly mistakes at times, and I have noticed it a bit this season. But I think, I think he played well on Sunday in that last game that he played. And he's got to play more like that, really, more week in, week out, rather than making some silly mistakes, really.
So if he played like 2/3 of the season, say, do you offer him a year's contract, or do you just let it run
out? Maybe. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? It really is a tough one with Partey, because he does have some good moments, I think, in all honesty, I think we've got to see, like you say, if he plays 2/3 of the season, then I think maybe we should look at considering to renew his contract. But if he can't get to 2/3 of the season, then I think we should just let it run out.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that if we were renewing it, they should be, radically reduced anyway. So he's on 200k a week. So I'd want to see it go down to something like 100, 120 maybe, somewhere around that figure. Because obviously, you can't go from all to nothing, I guess. But so that's kind of where I think on that. Where do you see Merino playing there? Do you think Merino is going to play in Rice's position and Rice will go back in the 6, or do you think the opposite is going to happen?
I think the opposite, really, of playing opposite position to Rice. I think that's what I think he'd like to have
play the 6.
And I think he'd like to have the both of them playing together rather than having him playing in Rice's position. But I mean, we haven't seen him play for us, really. I think he was a great player in the Euros. Seeing him play with Spain, and he looks solid and sharp there. And I think personally he should play with Rice, really. And I think that would be a good combination for the midfield, really, to do that.
Yeah, but you put him in the 6 and then put the Rice in the 8.
Yeah, I would. That's what I'd do. What I'd look
Interesting. I only ask because it really could work either way. I'm not exactly sure how he would utilize him, and whether he's doing that to free up Rice and get him further up the field, whether he's a replacement for Partey, whether he's a replacement for having Havertz in that position. We don't know, do we?
No, we don't really. We don't. Because we haven't really seen him get a cap for us yet, so we don't know at the moment what Arteta plans to do with Merino. But I think personally, with like you say, have Rice and Merino playing together like that in the midfield, I think that's what we want to try and do and aim for. I think that will be the Arteta way of going about it as well. Because Rice, I think he's good in his position where we have Rice at the moment, and he can a
little bit more advanced.
Well, and he's good offensively, and maybe free up space for Havertz up front as well. To get Rice to go a bit more forward as well, because Rice has got a good attacking capability, and I think he'd want to have Merino there in the case that we do have an injury to Partey again. So I think that's how he'd utilise Merino, but only time will tell when we do see him play for us.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, if and when a striker comes in, I don't expect it to be January. We kind of never really seem to do that, do we?
Never.
Was our Shavin our only real big January signing? Maybe.
Yeah, we don't seem to do a lot of business in the
No.
January transfer window, in all honesty. And I think really with the squad of players that we've got, they need to keep outshining and keep focused and putting in those performances really. And because like you say, we don't invest in January, and I think that's all we can rely on really, is that they continue to play well and perform well, and the strike. I think Havertz has been good this season so far. I think he's showing that he's that he was well worth the 60 million that we invested in him.
Yeah.
Like I say, I mean, that's what we got to hope on. I would like to see more from Jesus, like in terms of scoring and making the most of those chances.
Yeah, he's got to get on the pitch first, doesn't he? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing as well. Yeah, I think it would be good to use Jesus in Europe, and the cup competitions to try and get him to build back more into his confidence, really. But that's what we got to have. We've got to make the most out of the players that we keep getting in, that we have already, really. Because we're not really signing anyone in January. We're not doing that. We're not making those massive signings, really, are we? So,
yeah, if we did have the ability to sign somebody, because obviously it depends where we are on the PSR rules and whatnot. Who would you want to bring in? What kind of position would be a priority for you?
I think for me, I think it will be. I think the thing is, I think we've built defensively. We're good and we're sound. I think the midfield is looking better now as well, and the wingers and stuff. But I think it is really that number 9 out and out goal scoring striker. Because although Havertz has been playing well, we don't see like a constant banging out and out goal scoring striker, do we? In him sometimes.
No, not really.
That's the point.
Yeah, we. But then you can argue that obviously if Saka puts up the numbers, Martinelli keeps putting, gets his numbers back.
Yeah. He needs to grow. Yeah, Martinelli, I think he needs to grow a bit more in confidence, because he's been going good and getting to positions and creating some assists, but he's not really getting any goals on his tally at the moment.
I wondered if he was carrying a knock, because and I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just thinking because of the League Cup game, because I would have thought that would have been a perfect game for him to get some confidence himself, and even maybe keep Martinelli on the left and play Sterling on the right instead, and give Saka a full breather.
That's probably a good. I mean, but someone also said about once putting Martinelli up the front and seeing how he performs in. But then again,
that was kind of my utility kind of makeshift replacement for Ødegaard would be put Havertz in the essentially cam or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a cam, is it? But if you put him in that position that Ødegaard takes up, and then put Martinelli up top, and then you've got the likes of Sterling or Trossard on the left, and Saka on the right. That was my utility kind of go-to for the league. That we could basically have utilized for that position. So that was kind of a thing that I went through. Maybe just do that just to kind of breed some confidence into him.
Yeah.
But I am quite surprised by the League Cup game that he didn't put him in that position or either position. And then he just didn't get that that opportunity really. So I thought it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? He's another one that can be a bit injury prone sometimes, Martinelli. I think he's a great player in his prime, but he can be a bit injury prone sometimes, can't he? He doesn't always capitalise on all his chances sometimes. He does create some great assists, I think. I think he's a phenomenal player.
But it's his old problem, really, because I thought he got over that problem where he basically made blind runs, didn't get his head up, and he didn't have an end product.
Yeah.
But I thought he got away from that, but yeah, it seems
It's still prevalent.
still prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You see, I mean, the thing is, who we'll be looking to bring in, who will be an out-and-out goal-scoring striker. I think the likes of probably Ollie Watkins or Isak, maybe, probably, could be good for that. I think I wouldn't go for Ivan Toney because
No, he's gone anyway. That's not an option anymore, is it?
So that was no, exactly. But Ollie Watkins,
Gyökeres is probably the other option. But that's obviously going to be expensive. But
the Napoli guy as well, Ottoman, is it? I think he's
he's gone to he's on loan though, isn't he? To Galatasaray, I think.
Galatasaray, yeah. But I would have there would have been the ones that stick in my mind really, that we could have as an out-and-out goal scoring striker. I think so. But again, we're talking about signing a striker, but we never sign a striker, do we? So
no, we never seem to, do we?
There's always a lot of speculation around it, and there's always a lot of urgency about it within our fan base. But we just do not seem to make a deal on signing an goal scoring striker.
Yeah, well, let's go on to looking at the upcoming fixtures for the weekend, and the first one's quite interesting.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so we've got Newcastle v Man City at St James's Park. It's the early kickoff, I believe, on Saturday. Well, it must be on Saturday. How do you see that one going? With obviously Rodri's out, and they seem a little bit rattled from our game.
Well, I think again, though, it's because I'd like to say that they're going to probably drop points at Newcastle. I think Newcastle are a great side at home, and a great team in general. But I mean, it's going to be a massive hit, and they are a bit rattled by the draw that we got at their play. Like Man City are a bit rattled from where we played them last weekends. But I think they're still probably Haaland's probably still going to find a way and bang in 2 goals and end up winning the game. But I would like to think it wouldn't surprise me if Man City do win the game, because that guy is a goal scoring machine. He always seems to get a goal every game he's playing in. Just lately, if Newcastle can stop Haaland, then I do think that they will get a draw. I think at least City. The thing we can hope for is that City will drop 2 points at St James's Park, because I think they're a bit rattled. I think that will be a tough game for them. And Newcastle will want a point to prove,
Yeah. Do you think they're going to struggle with Rodri out, or do you think they're just going to do a makeshift and they'll be?
The thing is, I said this last season, when Man City seem to get an injury, it doesn't seem to affect them because they've got a rotating squad. I think they will still end up finding a way and still be that dominant size that they were last season, sadly. But I think it might affect them slightly. I think it will have some effect on them, probably in the other competitions like Champions League. The league, I think they still will remain dominant there. But they may be an effect on them. So that's what I think on that.
It probably is like the battle of the number 9s, though, isn't it? With Isak and Haaland, though Haaland is probably, on a different planet.
Yeah. I think so. I think so. I think Newcastle. Newcastle will have a really high potential, more so than if Roger was playing. I think they have a really high potential of getting something out of that game, and I think I think it's going to be a close call. And but like you say, Haaland is on another planet. Really, he's just a phenomenal goal scorer, isn't he? So, yeah,
it's not the easiest test, though, is it? When you've clearly got bones to pick and whatnot, and you're not very happy, a bit disgruntled and whatever, and you have to go to St James's Park. It's probably one of the best atmospheres in the league. Probably a hostile atmosphere. And do you think that they will pick up on that and think that they can, raise it up a notch and be the 12th man?
I think they could. I think the Magpies good. I mean, I've done St James's Park away.
It's a really good atmosphere, a fantastic
It is
atmosphere.
great atmosphere, great ground, and a great fan base they've got as well. And I think their fans will pick up on that and want to try and make City feel uncomfortable, and they want to put the fear in them. I think, and I certainly hope they do.
Yeah, but we can all hope, can't we? I mean, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying it's going to happen. I just think personally there are easier tests that they would probably want to have following the game on Sunday, and obviously they've had the League Cup game, but that's they'd expect to win that quite easily anyway.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if City just get the 3 points and win the game. But I think there is a chance that I think Newcastle will put a bit of fear in them. They are a bit rattled, and I do think it. Like you say, St James's Park is a great atmosphere for. It's a hostile atmosphere for the opposing team. And I do think that City may struggle there. I think there is a chance that Newcastle will get something out of that game.
Yeah, what would your score prediction be?
I think it'll be 2-2. That's what I'll go for that game. 2-2.
You're going for 2-2. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a 2-1. I think I'll go for 2-1 to City, just because I don't really believe that it will. I think that they're probably more well equipped for that kind of doubt than anybody else, really, because they've just done it so many times, haven't they?
That's the thing. That's the thing with Man City. Teams always seem to flop to them, really, as it were. They don't seem to put any kind of. I don't think anyone seems to be able to put any real challenge towards City, do they? They just seem.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing for me as well is if anybody's remotely like, they've got another competition that's going to go in, they'll put the underside out against City, whereas for anybody else, they'll put the full side out. And it used to happen a lot with like Man United's and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just never seems to happen for anybody else, unfortunately. So I do think they'll still win, unfortunately. And then the first 3 o'clock game we have on there is Arsenal-Leicester. And we obviously briefly touched on Arsenal before. But we don't really know what the situation is with goalkeepers, because Raya apparently had a thigh complaint for the League Cup game. Sefton has, I believe it's a knee injury, not entirely, couldn't swear to that, to be honest. Neto was cup tied for that, so we had Porter in goal. So we don't really know what the situation is there, do we?
No, we don't. I do hope that Ray is going to be fit and ready for the game on Saturday, but he's clearly is our number one keeper. I think he showed it in that Atalanta game last week, and again at City as well. But no, we don't know what the latest current situation is. We just don't know, really. Luck of the draw, who's going to be in there, really.
Yeah. So what would your lineup be? Would it be basically the same as City with obviously without Trossard?
I think we want to keep the consistency going in the league, and I think we'll go for the same lineup we had at City. It was quite interesting, though, wasn't it? Because we played 2 at the front, didn't he, for the City game? So I don't know if we'd want to do that for Leicester at home. Probably, maybe not. But I think ultimately, defence we'd want to keep the same. And I think the midfield's slightly the same as well as that. You definitely want Gabriel, Saliba, White, and Tavares. What was he? The new guy that Jury Timber.
Yeah, Timber. I think Timber got a knock as well. I'm not entirely sure if he's back or whatever. Yeah. So we were kind of waiting on a couple of updates on who was back. But to be honest with you, if Calafiori or Timber's on left back and White is on right back, I'm not particularly, phased either way, to be honest. I think we've got cover in that area now. I did hear a blast from the past is now in training in Tomiyasu.
Oh yes, that'll be
I've not heard anything about him for ages, to be honest. And I heard he's training today. So
yeah, he's been off since, I think. Well, it goes back into pre-season, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With Tomiyasu, and I'd love to see him back on. I love Tomiyasu. I think he's a great player, and he really is a true Arsenal player, and he gives it his all. And I think he's a great player for us, and a great defender as well. And it'd be good to see him back on the bench, I think. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I think obviously Trossard will be back because he missed obviously it was just one game that he missed, wasn't it? So
it was just the cup game. Oh yeah. Actually, he can play it. Saturday. Yeah, I forgot about that. Because they merged the competitions, didn't they? So it can be the League Cup game that he misses now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's a couple of years ago, didn't it? So, that's right. I had that. Weird kind of feeling that he couldn't play because of the red card. But you're right, because of the League Cup, he can. Even more reason we've got to stay in the cup competitions, so we can take the red cards for all the kicking the ball away in that competition. So
definitely. Yeah,
if you had to put a score prediction on that, what would your score prediction be?
I'm going to go. I think 2-0 to us, 2-0 Arsenal. I think.
Okay, I'm going to go 3-1, but just purely because it's generally my go-to bet kind of, But eventually I need to change it because we don't necessarily concede on whatever. But it's just normally a safe bet with Arsenal that we concede one. It's a long habit that I've got.
It seems to be. We always seem to let one slip in sometimes, don't we?
Yeah.
So it is a safe bet indeed.
Well, a lot of the times we concede first and then go on and score 3, wouldn't we? So
it's always the way we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we can do that, and then we can move on with things. But we've got Brentford. West Ham is also at 3:00. How do you see that going?
I think for that new West Ham manager, he's really against it now, isn't he? They're not playing well at all this season, are they? They've had some. I mean, they got battered at home by Chelsea last weekend in the league, 3-0. The Liverpool game, it was kind of a given. It happened it was a carbon copy of last season, but they got battered there again. They didn't really play that well, I don't think. They're generally not playing well. They must have a win, I think, really. Brentford, as well, are not really playing like they had been last season. I don't think Thomas Frank is. I think he's feeling a bit more pressure now at the moment, as well than what he was last season, even though it is early doors. But the way I see that one going, I think, Brentford being at home as well, it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham end up losing that game again. I reckon 2-1 Brentford, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you there, to be honest. I think that the signings that they've come in, and I was one of the people that basically said that they won the transfer window. And I thought they'd signed some really good players, and that they've spent really well. But I have to say I wasn't convinced by Lopetegui, and obviously it's taking some time. If it is ever going to gel, it's taking some time to get it to gel. So I think they might struggle, and I think you're right. I think a 2-1 to Brentford. I don't really see anything other than a Brentford win, to be honest with you.
No, definitely not, because I just can't see it happening. It's not working for West Ham. It's going to be a tough game for them, and they're away from home. And Brentford can be a bit tough, as we had known a couple of seasons back. But I think 2-1 Brentford. I think with that one.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And then we got Chelsea Brighton. It's also at 3 o'clock. There's a lot of 3 o'clock games.
Yeah, there's quite a few there, isn't there? Quite a few.
A couple I expect to see live, to be honest. But there we go. But yeah, Chelsea Brighton also at 3 o'clock. How do you see that going?
Chelsea had a good result at West Ham last weekend, 3-0, and Brighton seem to be up there. They're still punching in the positive results, aren't they? So, I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton do beat Chelsea, to be fair. I think I'll go 2-1 Brighton. Being at the Amex as well, I think
they've drawn their last 2 at the Amex, though.
Yeah, I do.
One of those was Ipswich as well.
Yeah, that's true. Brighton, they're a bit of a. They do have good results and bad results. They beat Man United, didn't they? Even though Man United are not great, and we struggled against them at home as well. They're a bit of a tough side to play against, Brighton are. And I think Chelsea have had a few positive results, but they didn't start the season too well, did they? And I think they will struggle.
They played City their first game, didn't they? So
yeah. Well, that was a given, but they still. I think after that they did struggle. No, didn't
Palace, didn't they? Drew with Palace, I believe.
Drew with Palace, that's it. But then they beat Wolves, didn't they? They had that big win against Wolves, and then obviously West Ham as well. But it's either going to be a draw or a win to Brighton. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it.
All right. If we had to nail you down on a prediction of the score, what would you say?
Oh, it's a tough one, come to think of it, actually, I think probably 1-1 Brighton, Chelsea 1-1. I'd say.
Okay, I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea just because of the form that they've been on, and the form that Brighton have been on. Probably not the greatest, but yeah, I do agree. It could go either way. Like, yeah, it could quite easily end up any result. That
it's 50-50 in that one.
Well, if you could put any result that you could predict to be a 4-4 or something like that, it'd be that one. And the only reason that would I'd be swayed from doing that is because Pedro's got an injury, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be the only reason that I wouldn't say, that they're going to be mass scorers. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, that one. I'd be interested to see what actually happens there. There seems to be a lot of hype around Chelsea all of a sudden.
Yeah, they seem to have come to life a bit now, haven't they? Since they've got them positive results got their shooting.
Yeah, I don't know if they've necessarily played anyone yet. They've still got. Obviously, you can only beat who's put in front of you, but yeah, time will tell for me. The jury's still out for me on that one.
Yeah.
Everton Palace.
Well, Palace, Everton, as we know, they're in a lot of trouble, aren't they? They're really up against it, but, looking destined for relegation, even though it's so early in the season. But Palace have not had the greatest of games, have they? They've not got a win in the Premier League yet. And, but I do think somehow, well, the way you look at it is I just don't know how Everton have been. I think they were winning against Villa and then they lost, didn't they? 3-2 or something, didn't they? The other week.
They did it two consecutive games, I believe. They were 2-0 up.
Or two, but they just can't.
So they did it against Bournemouth, and then
Villa after that. I think it was Villa, wasn't it? Wasn't it Villa?
It might be Villa actually. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was Villa. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I think I just can't see. I think I can still see them sliding down the slope. Really, Everton. I think they're a struggling team, and there's a lot of trouble at that club at the moment. And I think Palace might, I think Palace might actually end up getting something there. They might end up getting a draw there, I reckon, or even a win. I think. I think it's hard. It's a hard one to predict now because the form of both teams. Either Palace are probably going to win 1-0, or it's going to be 1-1, something like that.
Yeah, I mean the stats from whatever basically follow. If you're following form, would say a draw, wouldn't they? That is probably the best guess. But if you're going to pick a winner, it's got to be Palace, isn't it?
I'd say Palace for me. And, and I think it'll be interesting to see how Eddie gets on in that as well. I think he has actually scored a goal or two for Palace this season so far, isn't he?
I think he scored one, yeah.
Yeah, so, and yeah. I think Palace are quite a decent side in some ways, really. I mean, they're quite a solid side in some ways. And, I for that game, I'd say Palace for me, really. But if, like you say, if you look at the guidance of form, both teams would draw if you're going by both the team forms.
Yeah. So what scoreline are you putting on that?
I'll go 1-0 Palace in that one, James. 1-0 Palace.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. See, I was thinking that looking at the form of both teams, but I just think Palace will snatch the winner of this one, and Everton are just looking like a right demoralised team at the moment.
Yeah. Evening, Kai. How are we? This last stream. Yeah, we're all good, mate. We're all good. Nice to see you in here. Charlotte, welcome in. What are your honest opinions on Lopetegui? Am I overreacting wanting him gone? There's an extra bit to that, so I'll just put the other bit on there. I was backing him until our result in the League Cup against Liverpool. To be fair, I don't think you can use the League Cup result as a benchmark. But to be honest with you, he's not exactly pulling any trees up, and at this point, I can't really see why you get rid of Moyes.
No, I can't see why they've done that. Really, I just think
I know that what they were saying, it was boring football and it was drab and this, that, and the other, but he took them to a European trophy.
Yeah, first trophy in 40-something years, wasn't it?
First trophy. And then the next minute they want him out, and
yeah, I just couldn't make head or toe of it. That decision. I think it was a bit of a ludicrous decision for them, really. I think they should have stuck with Moyes.
Yeah, I think that Moyes was boring, but I think it was conservative rather than boring, if that makes sense.
Yeah, agreed. But then again, the new guy there, he's not getting them to do anything more entertaining. They lost 3-0, didn't they, in their last league game, and they just look so lackluster and so no creativity going forward. They do have some good squad of players though, like Kudus.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. When they went into the transfer window, they essentially won the transfer window, right? Mm-hmm. So every one of us was sat here going, "Yeah, they've done great. They've done some great stuff." And for me, I just don't think I'd keep Moyes, and said this to a lot of people when I wanted him out. I just don't see what benefit you had of getting him out to put Lopetegui in and essentially get to this point where, well, if he keeps going on, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Where are you actually in the table right now?
They're going to be 14th. Struggling. They're going to be struggling, I think. And
so 14th with 4 points, won 1 and drawn 1.
That's it. It's not good, is it? It's not a good start.
No, it's not ideal at all, is it?
No, not at all. And it's going to be a hard game from tomorrow as well, away at Brentford. And if they lose that one, then
their draw was with Fulham, which is it's decent actually because Fulham had a decent start. But who did they win? Who did they beat?
In the League Cup, Fulham.
No, West Ham. Oh, they beat Bournemouth. Oh, no, that was the last round. Palace. Did they beat Palace?
I don't think so. I think they might have. Oh, they did. I think.
Yeah, they did beat Palace. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
No, I'm looking at. I'm not picking it off the top of my head. I'm looking at. I'm trying to read it. So live score. I'm on there, just trying to read it off there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sure. We've had a terrible pre-season, losing to Wolves and Palace. In the league, we lost to Villa. City, fair enough, absolutely. Although you bent over from last year, which really annoyed me, but there you go. City, fair enough, they're the best right now. Chelsea, who beat under Moyes and Fulham. Yeah, but I think Chelsea have got better, and they've just got a lot of players, to be fair. We'll find out about Maresca in a few weeks' time, I guess. Even though we beat Palace in the league, we were crap first half. Yeah, I mean, it's a results business at the end of the day. But, obviously, if you've got rid of a manager based on him being not entertaining, then you want entertainment, right?
That's it, really. I can see what Charlotte's saying there, but I think at the end of the day, really, what you got to think of is if he was, being a bit kind of conservative with his play and his, his style, and it was getting West Ham to the level they want to be at, then ultimately you want to stick with that, really, rather than trying to take a gamble. I mean, they've done a similar thing quite a few seasons back when I think they'd done the same thing before. They let Moyes go and then they got Pellegrini in, and then they were in a relegation battle, and then they end up getting Moyes back in again.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a funny
well, they could go back in for him at this rate. So, yeah. You got a lucky winner. Oh, so it was Bournemouth you won. Fair enough. I mean, for me, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why. I wanted Moyes out because I wasn't happy finishing 9th for not competing for the League Cups, and now we got this clown who takes us back to the days of fighting. Well, I mean, it is a bit of a case of be careful what you wish for, because you don't know what's around the corner, do you? But they obviously thought that he would do a better job, but up to
it's
now,
still early days. It's
still early days. He's got time to put his stamp on things, so it's probably a little bit early to be wanting him out. But yeah, hopefully things improve for you, because at this moment in time, it's not looking great, is it?
No, it's not for a West Ham perspective. It's not really, and
no, I mean, I just don't see where their next win's coming from, to be honest, with the way of playing. I'd sack Lopetegui, regardless of a Brentford result tomorrow, being Moyes back, and look for new managers. What? So you bring him in as a caretaker, basically? I mean, it's an option. I don't know how Moyes would feel about that, and certainly the fan base. But all that matters is that they go back up the league, isn't it? Right, we've got to go through the rest of these fixtures because we got to wrap up shortly. We got Nottingham Forest, Fulham. What do you see happening in that one?
Well, again, Forest, they beat Liverpool, didn't they? What was it? I think was it not last week? Was it
2 weeks ago?
Yeah. I think the Forest is an intimidating place to go to. I've done that one away when we had them in the cup 2 years ago, and it's a right hostile atmosphere. And I think Smith Rowe's doing really well. I would say for this game 2-1 Forest. I think Smith Rowe may get a goal for Fulham. I like what he's doing at Fulham. Very proud of him to see what he's doing there. But I do think Forest are quite a solid side at home, and I can't see anything but a Forest winning that.
Yeah, I think they've both started quite well, to be fair. I mean, reasonable kind of start from Fulham as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Fulham are ninth. In fact, they're the same. Forest have got 9 points and Fulham have got 8 points. So
very,
still
very
a
close,
reasonable
aren't they?
start for either one of them. Yeah, to be fair.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Fulham did get a win, but I just think Forest will be putting in a solid performance against them for the home for that game.
Yeah, I'm not sure Everton are going to bring him back in though, are they? Because they've just followed, they've just got their new ownership, so I think maybe they want to go with somebody new potentially. So it might still be an option.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm going 2-2 with that.
2-2. 2-2. Yeah. Looking at the form, similar teams, really, aren't they? So
yeah, very similar. I expect them both to be kind of floating around mid-table ish. Wolves, Liverpool.
Well, Wolves have they're not really, not had a good start. I mean, Liverpool are one of the title favourites. Liverpool are going to be wanting to get back to winning ways in the league, and I think they're going to be a bit buoyed by the League Cup win the other night. So I'd say it'll be a solid performance from Liverpool. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool in that one.
Yeah, I concur. Can't look anywhere past a Liverpool win. I'm going to go 4-1. I think probably a little bit more convincing. Yeah, either way, very comfortable for Liverpool for me. They've had a decent start, and I think Wolves are bottom.
Yeah.
So not good for them. Ipswich Villa is the first Sunday game.
Well, as we know, I think Emery. I think he's done fantastic things with Villa last season, and he's doing fantastic things with Villa this season. And although they're away from home in this fixture, I do sense Villa getting a positive result out of this. Having said that, no, Ipswich being at home, Ipswich most doubtly, without a doubt, I'm sure will get a goal. But I still think Villa will be too much for them. I think 3-1 Villa in this game.
Yeah, I'm somewhere around about the same. I don't necessarily think they'll score, even though they're at home. I do think their home form will help them, but not necessarily against Villa. I'm going to go a 2-0.
Yeah.
And then the blockbuster, I guess, is Man United Spurs, which is the R4 game on Sunday.
They're a bit. Well, Man United. I mean, they're not really doing well, are they? Again, without surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, it doesn't surprise me really that they're still continuing to struggle. Spurs.
Is it a must-win for both of them?
Really, yes, I'd say it is. It's a must-win, really, for both teams because Spurs are struggling slightly in the league. Having said that, they did beat Brentford last week, didn't they?
I'm just saying to put distance between each other because they're about on the same kind of level, I guess, at the moment. And one of them has kind of got to put their foot down and put a stamp on it to say, well, we're not as bad as you, sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is. It's going to be survival of the fittest there. And Man United with their home advantage, you'd think you'd go Man United, but I think it'll be a draw. To be fair, well, no, it could be. Or no, it could be a close one. It could be a very close one. But it's either for me, it'll be a Man United win or a draw between the two. I think I'd say 2-2 to Man U and Spurs 2-2.
It's either going to be, for me, it's either going to be 2-1 for Spurs, or if it's 0-0, on like 80 minutes or something like that, United will win it 1-0.
Yeah, probably that's probably a good. I'd say that is a good prediction there. Man United, if they were to win, it'll probably be a last-minute winner.
They generally stay in the game. If they're going to stay in the game and nobody scores against them, then they'll grow into it and pinch a winner at the end.
Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt.
That's.
For me, I'm looking at the form of both sides in the league. Spurs got a good result in Europa, didn't they, the other night? But I think form-wise, I think it's a draw that has a draw written over it. I reckon 1-1 or 2-2 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 2-1 Spurs.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
But yeah, I'm not assured on that whatsoever. But yeah. And the last one we've got Bournemouth, Southampton, and I don't know about you. This will either be an absolute snooze fest, or it'll be 5-5.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a raised occasion as well. Being a South Coast derby between two South Coast towns. I think Southampton they've struggled a bit, haven't they? They've had a bit of a struggle. But like you say, it could be a boring 0-0. It could be a goal scoring fest, really, between the two. I think I'm going to go. I think I'll be a bit adventurous on this one. I'm going to say 4-4.
I'm going to go 5-3 Bournemouth.
5-3 Bournemouth. Very adventurous.
Yeah. Just because they're at home.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same amount of goals as your 4-4. I had to think about that.
It is, to be fair. Yeah.
I had to think about that. I was saying something really stupid. Really had to think about it really hard. I was like, is my maths brain actually working correctly? One scores one less, one scores one more. Yeah, so well, I think we kind of covered that. But are you going to the game then?
I was going to go, but I've actually ended up giving my ticket to someone because to one of my other friends because the missus I did promise her I was going to go to this house party, and so I've got roped into that now. But I'll be at the PSJ game on Tuesday night. Looking forward to that. Champions League back at the Emirates. So
I just hope it's not raining because I hate Champions League nights when it's raining.
Did you go the other night to the Bolton game, by the way?
I didn't go to the Bolton game because of the Thursday night and whatever.
I didn't. I didn't do the game. I watched it at home. But are you going tomorrow as well? Are you? Or
I'm going tomorrow, and I'll be going next week as well. So we will be there. But so hopefully we don't kind of do any slip ups or anything like that.
That's right. This is the thing that I'm sensing. We've had a great performance at City. I just really hope we don't let it slip against teams like this, like similar to what we had last season with Villa. We just got to keep the momentum going.
Fulham's the worst one, wasn't it?
Oh, that was, the Fulham away game. It was, wasn't it? Yeah, well, even West Ham at home as well. We shouldn't have lost that game.
Well, Fulham at home was 2-2, wasn't it? Did we lose? Did we draw 2-2?
The draw. We did draw with them, but we lost to them away, didn't we? We lost to Fulham away and drew with them. So you see,
just went ahead.
But we shouldn't have lost.
Not good fun.
No, but let's hope we keep the momentum going and keep focused and prioritise every competition, not just the league. We've got to go for every.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen people today basically going, this is just a dead rubber and whatever. But in the same kind of breath, they're going, well, we can only win the Premier League or the Champions League. And you're like, well, why don't you just stay in everything?
Yeah, exactly.
and anything counts, yeah. And
Yeah, Bill.
who knows? You might get 2. Who knows? Yeah,
That's the thing, Yeah, I'd say, he's got. I think for us, the priority is to win some sort of silverware, and I wouldn't knock it, the League Cup at all. Where everyone's fantasising about it being a Mickey Mouse Cup, but for me, I think it is still a major. We've not actually won it since 1993, so.
yeah.
I think it will be a bit of a statement if we could go for that and win that, and it'll be nice to see us win that as well. And like you say, go for every competition, and then that way it'll help.
I mean, in those days, it was, or in years gone by anyway, the 2000s, whatever, it was kind of a tournament for the kids, wasn't it? You just put the kids out there, and if they won it, it was like another tournament. But since the likes of Chelsea and City got really big squads, and they had to feed top level players into there, it's kind of, we carried on, really, didn't we? Putting the youth players out there where other teams. Yeah, but so hopefully we can stay in the competitions, and even if it's just to get rid of red card suspensions.
All the more reason to stay in them.
What's that?
All the more reason to stay in them in the competitions.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. But yeah, well, thanks for coming on, George. It's been a great chat.
Thank you for having me, and I've enjoyed the chat thoroughly, and I'll try and join onto a show again next week. Making a weekly appearance will be good, So
yeah,
it's
that'd be great.
And I enjoy it. Yeah. All right, then, James. Absolutely. Well, I hope you have a good evening, and let's hope that our Gunners get 3 points tomorrow. Up the Gunners.
Yeah, absolutely. While you're in here, guys, please make sure you're liking and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.